During the Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. exhibition boxing match, Jake Paul fought Nate Robinson. Now this fight has been talked about a lot since it first happened because it ended up with Nate Robinson being knocked out in the second round. Throughout the fight, Nate Robinson had suffered some pretty devastating headshots, however he wasn't knocked out. These hits to the head caused him to fall down, however he was able to get back up. Unfortunately for Nate Robinson, after he did get back up the last time, Jake Paul landed a chin shot which knocked him out cold. Now, if you're an MMA or boxing fan like I am, you know that we see shots to the head all the time. Now, why did this last punch, though, cause a knockout? Welcome back, sports fans. If you're not familiar with me, my name is Nick Gallo, and I'm a doctor of physical therapy. Today, I want to go over some of the key moments from the Jake Paul versus Nate Robinson boxing match, as well as that devastating knockout blow that Nate Robinson suffered to his chin. Now, first with today's video, I want to go over some of those key moments during the fight that I believe affected Nate Robinson. Then I want to go over some of the anatomical structures that I believe were involved during this boxing match. And finally, a potential diagnosis that Nate Robinson might have after a fight like this, and some potential rehabilitation options for him. If you like today's video and you find it informative, please hit that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel because I will be doing more videos about sports injuries, physical therapy, and of course other content related to rehabilitation of injuries. Now first, let's take a look at some of the key moments of the fight.
During the fight, Nate Robinson's strategy was to try to get inside on Jake Paul. This is because Jake Paul has a longer reach and he's also the taller fighter. We can see that as Nate Robinson tries this strategy, Jake Paul ties him up each time. Robinson continuously tries to get inside using the same strategy. Paul begins to anticipate Nate Robinson's strategy and lands a hard right to the left side of Nate Robinson's head, knocking him down. We can see here in slow motion that Paul's punch actually landed right behind and right below Nate Robinson's left ear. This is significant because this is where a structure known as the cerebellum is located. The cerebellum is significant because it coordinates voluntary movements such as posture, balance, and coordination. Therefore, it makes sense that right after Nate Robinson was punched to this area that he seems to have issues doing all of these functions. In the beginning of the second round, Paul lands a very strong shot to Nate Robinson's forehead this time. He lands the shot while Nate Robinson is moving forward. The punch was so severe it knocks Nate Robinson to the ground, however after a few seconds he's able to get right back up. Because Robinson is moving forward and Paul hitting him at the same time, this creates a head-on collision. Although the forehead is the thickest part of the skull, it's very possible that the force was so great here that it caused the brain to move around in the cerebrospinal fluid and to hit on the side of the skull. When the impact is so great that it causes the brain to hit on a section of the skull, this is formally known as a concussion. Now, in order to formally diagnose a concussion, Nate Robinson would need a formal evaluation. However, the fact that the force was great enough and he was already moving forward makes sense that he could have possibly sustained a concussion after this punch. Next, Robinson is able to get up on his own power and the referee's asking him if he is okay. The fight continues and Nate Robinson moves in where Jake Paul hits him with a devastating punch to the left side of his chin where he is knocked out unconscious. The medical staff moves in because Robinson is out cold. A hard punch to the chin puts a force on the brain known as rotational force. Rotational forces on the brain affect areas known as the midbrain and the diencephalon. It is believed that rotational forces from injury disrupt the normal cellular activities in these areas of the brain, which result in loss of consciousness, often seen in concussion. However, it is important to note that not all concussions result in loss of consciousness.
So to recap, Nate Robinson had suffered some pretty hard punches to the head which may have resulted in some minor head trauma. The final punch, however, to Nate Robinson's chin definitely caused him to lose consciousness and resulted in a mild traumatic brain injury. Now, the tricky thing about minor head traumas is they do not always cause a person to lose consciousness, nor does a concussion. The final punch, however, to Nate Robinson's chin definitely caused him to lose consciousness. A hard punch to the chin like that puts a tremendous rotational force on the brain and results in a person losing consciousness or passing out. This is why when you watch MMA or boxing, you'll see that fighters will traditionally try to hit fighters on the chin, and the fighter in the defensive stance is going to have their hands up to prevent this from happening. Since Robinson was hit hard on the chin and he had that knockout blow resulting in his unconsciousness, I do find it very, very possible that he is being treated for a concussion at this time. Due to the metabolic processes that are disrupted during a concussion, I expect Robinson to have a multitude of different treatments. This will of course include being seen by a neurologist and undergoing physical, vestibular, and sometimes even vision or speech therapy, depending on how severe it is. Fortunately for Nate Robinson, concussions and concussion-based rehabilitation has been studied extensively in recent years, so I do expect him to get the care that he needs and to make a full recovery from this without any residual symptoms. And that's it for my breakdown of the knockout blow that Nate Robinson suffered during the Jake Paul fight. Once again, if you really liked today's video and you found it informative, please hit that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.